Today on Disney's, we've got the official updates from Disney Cruise Line. This week, Disney Cruise Line announced that there will be no more vaccinations required in order to sail with Disney Cruise. It's been an eventful 2 years. Cruise fans have been watching and waiting. When will things go back to normal? Well, they may never go back to what the old normal was, but there's definitely going to be a new normal. Currently, vaccinations are required for ages 12 and older through October 13th, 2022. You'll want to make sure you go to their Know Before You Go section, and it was last updated on October 5th. There's a lot of useful information in this Know Before You Go section. They do have a pre-cruise checklist, which is quite handy, and you need to make sure and check your sailing options, whether you're sailing from Canada, Europe, New Zealand, or Australia, or USA. COVID-19 vaccinations have been required, and they have announced a change. Vaccination and testing requirements currently through October 13th, guests 12 and older require full vaccination, but testing is not required. Guests age 5 to 11 are not required to have full vaccination. Of course, they highly recommend it. For guests ages 4 and younger, the requirements are the same. Testing for fully vaccinated guests is not required. However, testing for unvaccinated guests is required. Now, that being said, vaccination and testing requirements differ for sailings from New York aboard the Disney Magic. This is from September 30th through October 31st. For information about those sailings, you can go to the Bermuda section of their website, and specifically departing New York, you'll want to look at the Canada sailings page, and we will come back to each page in just a minute. That's really got to be a relief. It is a huge stressor waiting to get that test done at the port. The all clear to sail is so important, and just having a vaccine as of October 14th and November 7th for the Magic means that you will no longer have to get those tests done at the port. To be exempt from testing requirements, fully vaccinated guests must upload their proof of vaccination to the Inspire Diagnostics Safe Passage website by midnight prior to embarkation day. Well, I certainly would do that at least a week ahead, just to make sure you're good. That's just what I would suggest, because sometimes things get missed. Just good to have it done. Disney Cruise Line accepts multiple types of vaccines. Go check their Know Before You Go website and make sure that they accept yours. It is also important to note that you have to be fully vaccinated, which they deem as 14 days after receiving either a single dose of a 1-dose vaccine or the second dose of a 2-dose vaccine. And Disney Cruise Line will consider guests 5 and older as fully vaccinated 14 days after receiving either a single dose of an accepted 1-dose vaccine, the second dose of an accepted 2-dose vaccine, the full series of an active COVID-19 vaccine, or the second dose of any mix and match combination. All of the exact details and names that are accepted are on the Know Before You Go website. They do have some different distinctions for guests ages 4 and younger that are very specific. Make sure you go verify those as well. If you're going to be traveling on the Canada sailings, the use of Arrive Can has ended. Sailings aboard the Disney Magic through October 31st require guests ages 12 and older to be fully vaccinated. For guests ages 5 and older, and guests who are not fully vaccinated will be considered unvaccinated guests. For pre-trip testing, fully vaccinated guests must provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test taken 1 to 2 days before setting sail. And exact details are on the Know Before You Go. For guests that are not fully vaccinated, you must provide proof of the negative COVID test taken 1 to 3 days before the sail date. Pre-trip results must be uploaded by midnight prior to embarkation. And embarkation day testing is for guests who are not fully vaccinated. Those guests will be required to complete a COVID-19 test at the terminal prior to boarding. Requirements for cruise passengers visiting Europe have their own section on the website, and they do have them listed by country. Now, there are a few exceptions that are very important to note with this new vaccination policy. If you will be sailing on a back-to-back cruise, you will need to take a COVID-19 test in between the 2 sailings. Disney will pay for it, but you do have to take it. Now, if anybody in your party has had COVID-19 and it's been within 90 days prior to the sail date, they can apply for a 90-day recovered exemption. In order to receive this exemption, you need a copy of the positive test and a signed letter from a health professional stating that the guest has recovered. Once those are granted, there will not be a COVID-19 test required prior to sailing. For those vacation at sea cruises, at all home ports and ports of call, Disney Cruise Line will adhere to the local laws. Make sure you review and stay up to date with any cruise-specific requirements. On Disney Cruise Line's website, in that Know Before You Go section, they will have links to the New Zealand government advice for cruise ship passengers and the Australia Department of Health cruise travel guidance. For the sailings to Bermuda, Bermuda government requirements are a little bit different. They are independent of Disney Cruise Line health and safety protocols. The sailings aboard the Disney Magic from September 30th to October 31st, 2022 do include a stop in Bermuda. According to Disney Cruise Line's website, all guests 2 and older, including those who do not plan to debark the ship in Bermuda, must have an approved Bermuda travel authorization prior to sailing. You will need an electronic or paper copy of that travel authorization to show at embarkation. For the Bermuda COVID-19 vaccination, sailings aboard the Disney Magic through October 31st require guests ages 12 and older to be fully vaccinated at the time of sailing. And of course, they recommend that guests ages 11 and younger be fully vaccinated, but it's not required. For Bermuda's COVID-19 testing, their entry requirements are independent of the Disney Cruise Line COVID vaccination and testing requirements. Acceptable test results submitted to the Inspire Diagnostics Safe Passage website satisfy Bermuda's testing requirements. Fully vaccinated guests must provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test 1 to 2 days before setting sail. Guests who are not fully vaccinated must provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test result taken between 1 to 3 days prior to the sail date. Rapid antigen tests will not be accepted for Bermuda. And if you are doing a back-to-back sailing while visiting Bermuda, you will be required to test between the sailings. You will also be asked to repack your luggage and debark the ship between voyages. And just to touch on face coverings real quick, face coverings are optional for most guests throughout the ships. They do recommend that unvaccinated guests wear a face covering in all indoor locations. In the U.S., they are optional on motor coach transportation and in the Disney Cruise Line terminal, but they may be required in ports of call or cruise terminals outside of the U.S. Now, many of you know the Disney Wonder will be traveling down under beginning October 2023. They will also have the Trans-Pacific Hawaii cruises as well. These will consist of a 10-night Hawaiian cruise from Vancouver to Honolulu, or 10 nights from Honolulu to Vancouver, a 13-night South Pacific cruise from Honolulu to Sydney, or a 15-night South Pacific cruise from Sydney to Honolulu. They really have some fun port stops on these. Fiji, Pago Pago, American Samoa. Some really fun new destinations. Booking dates for those Trans-Pacific sailings have been pushed back. Originally, they were going to be available to book at the end of September. Because of Hurricane Ian, those dates have changed. The new early booking dates for the South Pacific and Hawaii sailings: Monday, October 10th for Platinum Castaway Club members, Tuesday, October 11th for Gold, Wednesday the 12th for Silver, and Thursday, October 13th, booking will be open to all guests. The Castaway Club membership is the club that you join once you've taken a cruise, so if you haven't heard of it before and you're a new cruiser, that's why. You will automatically be placed into the membership club once you have taken your first cruise. Bottom line, things are changing. They're going back, or I guess more precisely, we're moving forward to our new normal. I do like seeing that things are going a little bit more back to normal. Restrictions are easing a little bit. I think one of the things we probably will miss is the social distancing, but it's so nice to see everybody back to work, activities going again, and just easier to get on the ship with some of these restrictions slowly fading away. And if you haven't seen it yet, our last video was a Disney Wonder Master Guide. If you're planning on going on any of those Hawaiian cruises or the Down Under, Australia, and New Zealand cruises, you'll want to check that one out. Thanks for being here and enjoying the Disney fun. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Ring that bell. It'll let you know when we have new videos, and we'll see you real soon with some more Disneys.